So what happens when you pour your entire heart into a goal, only to have it blocked by something you just can't control? Well, today we're diving into a 2-year journey that really makes you rethink what success and failure even mean. This isn't about getting what you want, it's about what you become when you don't.
Right from the start, the author sets the stage with this single, powerful warning. You just know this isn't going to be a story with a simple happy ending. It's a journey that's really defined by struggle, by perseverance, and, as we'll see, by some really unexpected lessons.
So the story begins with that classic fish-out-of-water scenario. Our author arrives in a totally new country, all alone, his consultant is away, and he's feeling completely, as he puts it, blindfolded in this massive new hospital. I mean, you can just imagine that feeling of total disorientation.
And this just captures that immediate culture shock perfectly. It wasn't just about the language or the weather, it was something way more fundamental. The comfort of food. I mean, the contrast between the warm, spiced meals from home and a survival diet of biscuits and crisps, it's stark, and it speaks volumes about his initial isolation.
But in the middle of this challenge, a simple act of kindness, a friend just showing him around a supermarket, becomes this absolutely critical lesson. It was a reminder that survival in a new place is so often built on these small human connections.
And this personal struggle quickly moves into the professional world. The author was basically thrown into the deep end with 4 very different and very demanding assignments. This was the real proving ground.
And here was the roadmap for his work. It covered, pretty much everything, from patient care to these frustrating lab experiments, from mastering new tech to actually pioneering new treatments. Each one of these steps was its own distinct world of challenges and learning. The first assignment actually felt a bit like coming home. The clinical work was familiar from his years in Chennai. But, and this is key, notice the difference in philosophy, the joint clinic. So instead of treating men and women separately, they were seen as a single unit, a couple. This was a revolutionary idea that he would end up carrying back to India.
This quote just perfectly sums up his experience in the culture lab. It was a huge struggle. I mean, his first cultures were infected, he was facing criticism, but the painstaking skills he fought to learn, how to maintain a sterile environment, how to keep these delicate cells alive, those would become the bedrock of the world-class IVF labs he'd build later. The purpose of that struggle, it just wasn't clear at the time.
Okay, so to really get his next project, we need to know about this condition. To put it simply, it's a communication breakdown in the body. The brain isn't sending the right signals to the reproductive system. So this is the really complex problem he was trying to solve.
And the result of all this work? Well, by applying a standard therapy to a new problem, polycystic ovarian syndrome, he achieved a 25% success rate. Now, in the world of infertility treatment, that is a significant breakthrough.
And that success definitely did not go unnoticed. His work was presented on an international stage at a major conference in Cambridge. I mean, this was a real moment of validation, a professional peak after so much hard work.
But just as all this professional momentum was building, the story takes a sharp turn. This is the part where ambition and scientific progress run headfirst into a wall of rigid, unmovable bureaucracy.
Let's just walk through this incredibly frustrating journey. So he passes Part I of a prestigious exam on his own dime. He fights and he clears one bureaucratic hurdle, but then he hits the second one. A demand for a logbook of past cases from India, something that was just impossible to reconstruct from Nottingham. And just like that, the dream ended.
Okay, so undeterred, he sets a new goal. He's already done the research, right? The hard work is complete. All he needs to do is formally register for a PhD at the university. Seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it?
But then he was told the price to register as a private candidate. £8,000. An absolutely astronomical figure for the time.
And that fee wasn't just high, it was impossible. Why? Because his entire annual stipend, his salary for a full year of work, was less than £6,000. It wasn't a hurdle. It was a definitive, unmovable roadblock.
This quote, this just perfectly captures the difficult lesson of this whole period. Despite all his success, his hard work, his dedication, 2 of his biggest dreams, the MRCOG and the PhD, were just stopped cold by procedural walls he simply couldn't climb over.
So what happens when the path you're on doesn't lead to the destination you planned? This is where our story pivots to its core message. The real reward wasn't in the degrees he couldn't get, it was in the lessons he learned along the way.
He learned that true resilience isn't some grand, dramatic act. It's the quiet, daily perseverance. It's surviving on biscuits. It's watching your experiments fail and just starting over. It's showing up to work the day after your dreams are crushed. It's all those small, consistent efforts that really define you.
And this brings us right to the heart of the entire experience. So, why didn't all this struggle lead to burnout? The answer is right here in this quote. Because the work itself was filled with purpose. And that distinction is absolutely crucial.
You see, the meaning wasn't in some future diploma on a wall. It was in the work itself. It was in helping a patient, in finally getting a cell culture to survive, in sharing his research with his peers. Purpose was everywhere, every single day.
And then, a beautiful, poignant moment just brings this story full circle. The very same hospital that presented him with so many professional challenges became the place where he experienced one of life's greatest joys, the birth of his daughter.
So in the end, his departure from Nottingham wasn't a simple story of success or failure. He left with this really complex mixture of outcomes. His scientific work was done, but his degrees were unfinished. He had mastered new skills, made lasting friendships, and most importantly, his family had grown.
And this leaves us with a powerful question for all of us to think about. We all have unfinished paths, right? Goals we didn't reach, dreams that changed. This story asks us to look back at those paths and consider not what we lost, but what we were forced to build in ourselves along the way.